Hello, welcome to another 1v1 on Langreskaya, and once again the USF will be in the north base, this time being represented by WMD Spanky, and the Oberkommando West will be in the south base, being played by PanzerGrenadierAngreifen, who is also known as Big Bull in another game that I cast, and he currently is ranked as number 11 in 1v1 as Oberkommando West, and Spanky is ranked 12 as United States Forces. So, in 1v1. So this should be a very close game. Of course, it is on Langreskaya. Personally, I feel that this map favors the Oberkommando very heavily, should they choose to invest in MG34s. If not, then it actually is more of a toss-up. It will depend very much on what they do. Look at what Spanky is doing right off the bat here. We already see a fighting position going up onto his cutoff. We also have tank traps being built to make it more difficult to do things like truck pushing here, and you can see that it's already struggling to path around all of these obstacles, and he's not really able to effectively push anything around, and he's going to be forced away right off the bat. So good use of the rear echelon troops against what he suspects will be a very early Kubel. Rifle grenade doing a little bit of damage here as well, but we will note the PanzerGrenadierAngreifen does not go Kubelwagen first, at least not in this particular game. I don't know if I've ever seen him do so, but he is truck pushing. That's something that he has always done, and he's continuing to do so here. Truck push, or the truck moving up to do a little scouting over here on the right side. We actually have rear echelon troops taking up a position in the building, and we'll note that they do pretty reasonable damage to Sturm Pioneers at range when inside of a building. I think the Sturm Pioneers may win this engagement, but it'll actually be pretty close. It looks like they're pulling ahead though. Spanky is going to be forced to retreat. Of course, we do have rear echelons in the fighting position over here, trying to lob grenades. We actually have rear echelon troops moving again into the house over here, and more rear echelons moving over here on the left. So that, I believe, is 4 rear echelons. Yes, 4 rear echelons start into a rifleman, and that is something that is becoming a little bit more common, I think, against Oberkommando players, because you need the extra firepower against the Kubelwagen, you need the extra firepower against the supply half-track if it's trying to push you around. But he may have misstepped a little bit in the sense, well, he didn't misstep, but his opponent didn't build a he didn't build a Kubelwagen. Of course, you can't not prepare for the Kubelwagen just because you don't, because you haven't seen it yet, because by the time you do see it, it's too late to prepare for it. So this is really a very preemptive measure, definitely worth doing. It's only 125 manpower, and of course the tank traps are free. Fox Grenadiers moving up into the house over here, doing some damage to these riflemen. Even at close range, the riflemen aren't going to stand much of a chance here. Truck pushing them out of cover. No rear echelon troops moving up to focus down the truck, and I think he probably should, rather than capturing. Capturing is important, but destroying that truck is devastating. And if once you get it down to about half health, the Oberkommando player will always pull it back, and it will no longer harass you. We do have a bit of a push going for the left side fuel. He's actually massing his rear echelon troops together, presumably to get that little extra bit of firepower when one of them throws volley fire down. The other one helping with just shooting its standard rounds will actually add a little bit to the suppression, or at least prevent it from breaking suppression. So it increases your chances of getting a pin, and of course, if it does get pinned, doubles the chances of you wiping the unit, or at least taking it down much faster. Of course, against a skilled player like Angreifen, once it is suppressed, they will pretty much immediately retreat because they know they won't be able to stick around any further. We do finally have a Kubelwagen hitting the field. It is 4 minutes into the game, so it's a little unusual actually to see a Kubelwagen produced 4th. But I guess he decided that he's going to be able to make good use of it. Fortunately for Spanky, it wasn't produced first, but then again, up against a fighting position, it wouldn't be able to do too much, at least not in this particular zone. He is going to try to use it over here on the right side. Volks Grenadiers, I think they lobbed a grenade. No, he doesn't even have access to the grenades. He just dealt good damage with regular small arms fire, almost taking out that rear echelon troop squad. It looks like he's going to go in hard, and he does get it. Kubelwagen damage on the move, of course, much better than it used to be. Kubelwagen in general, very, very strong now. So, good use of the Kubel there. He does take a little more damage than he needs to, pulling back though, getting into that machine gun emplacement's arc of fire, but he will be able to get it repaired. Now that we do see a mechanized regiment headquarter being purchased, I highly expect a Puma. I don't think I've ever played a game against PanzerGrenadierAngreifen where he did not build a Puma. He loves Pumas. He tends to spam them. So I expect that's going to be his next purchase. No fuel transfer being activated though, so he does want to take advantage of his 53 munitions income right now, having excellent control of the munitions points. Also grabbing the right side fuel point, but not currently holding the left side fuel point. Very nice harassment from Spanky's rear echelon troops. He's done an okay job keeping them alive. He only has 3 at the moment because he did lose one to the Kubels chasing just a moment ago. But he's actually going to go straight into Captain. A lot of people counter the Kubel wagon going straight into Lieutenant and getting the 4-minute utility car. But Spanky knows that at about this point there is going to be a Puma hitting the field very soon, and if you go Lieutenant to counter the Kubel wagon, then that leaves you with a very late counter to the Puma. Or no counter to the Puma. And he looks like he's pretty much accepted the fact that his fuel control is just not good enough to get a Lieutenant and then hold out for Captain, so he's just going to go straight into Captain and just try to deal with the Kubel wagon with his lower tier units, and it's hard, but it looks like he may have no other choice at this particular time. We have Panzer Fusiliers hitting the field, so I think Angreifen is not going to play in a particularly campy style. He's not going to be throwing MG34s all over the place and trying to lock down his half of the map. Instead, he's going to go with some standard infantry. There are no MG34s in the Breakthrough Doctrine, so he's just going to be using Fusiliers and trying to contend with Spanky that way. So in that sense, things will probably be pretty even. American player won't get locked down by machine guns too particularly badly. If we take a look, we will see that Spanky has not researched grenades. Oh, look at that bazooka snipe. 2 Fusiliers obliterated with 1 shot. But unfortunately, the captain's taking too much damage and is being forced to retreat. Matt being harassed by the rear echelon troops over here. We also have some troops moving up to capture over here on the left. Oh, that could be a nasty rifle grenade. Just sort of barely got out of the blast in time there. Kubel wagon moving up to harass some riflemen over here. Volley fire counter harassing the Panzer Fusiliers there on the left, or on the right. We also have a Sturmoffizier hitting the field, moving up to harass some territory. Rifle grenade. Ooh, a nice rifle grenade. Apparently did very nasty damage to those squads. Unfortunately, there's not really anything that can follow up on this. Actually, we have a Greyhound hitting the field, so that is Recon Doctrine being chosen. We could also see some INR Pathfinders in the near future. He does have 120 munitions saved up. I believe it's 140 to call in the INR Pathfinder Artillery Barrage. Unfortunately, he does not know the location of any enemy trucks right now. Bit of an engagement happening over here. Sturms in yellow cover versus massed Allied infantry in red cover. It's actually not going very well for Spanky. I don't know if he was paying attention to that. He's actually forced to make a quick retreat, taking a lot of casualties and giving those Sturm Pioneers a nice chunk of veterancy. Greyhound firing on the Volksgrenadiers, and he's actually, I think, going to be using this Greyhound as his solution rather, to the Kubel wagon. It is 40 fuel, but he doesn't have to go Lieutenant Tech. He can skip that tier and bring it in a little bit later and force the Kubel wagon away that way. It'll probably only take 2 shots from the Greyhound's main gun to destroy the Kubel wagon entirely if he can get catch it out of position. We have some territory changing hands once again. Spanky really suffering from map control now. But if he spreads out with his rear echelon troops, he should be able to retake territory pretty quickly, since he has 3 squads of them, which are good pretty much for nothing but capturing territory. Except, of course, when used for volley fire, which he has been using quite a lot this game, to pretty reasonable effect, I think. Oh, and that Kubel wagon could definitely be caught out of position. Oh, the Greyhound cruises right by, though. He just didn't quite notice in time. If he had chased it, it would definitely be dead right now. Fortunately, he was kind of paying attention to other things, particularly these G43s, taking up a position in the house over here. He's probably going to be retreating them. Greyhound not making... No, he's not retreating. What is he doing? One nasty canister round. That was a pretty pathetic canister round. I didn't do anything.
We're taking fire! Get the gun on it! We're taking wind over here!
Kubel wagon harassing infantry over here. Greyhound has the damaged engine due to the Panzer Fusilier rifle grenade. And the rear echelon troops are forced away. American infantry forcing away the 3-man Volksgrenadier squad with considerable injury. Kubel wagon getting a little close to that captain. If those 2 bazooka shots land, it will be destroyed. 1 connects, 2 connects, even at max range. Wow, that was a little bit lucky. That's highly unusual. I don't think I've ever seen that happen. Nice shots there, but finally the Puma does hit the field. A little bit late, in fact. PanzerGrenadierAngreifen has 85 fuel. I'm surprised it didn't hit the field 4 minutes ago. But it's here now, and it's going to be quite problematic for that Greyhound, which is doing its best to kite it, but my god, the Greyhound damage is pathetic. It does nothing by comparison to the Puma, which just devastates it. Puma may even stick around to take out that ambulance. Bazooka shots all fire and miss. In fact, he's even going to dive straight into that captain. No, he changes his mind. Another shot misses. Yeah, there you go. The Puma has a much bigger target size than the Kuba wagon. And the captain now missed 3 out of 4 shots against it, which just goes to show how incredibly unlikely it was that he was going to land both of those shots against that Kuba wagon, but he did somehow. The Kuba wagon got taken out, so that was a lucky break for Spanky for sure. Puma's definitely going to be able to take out that fighting position. There it goes. And now he's going to pull back for some quick repairs. Again, the rear echelon troops do a deceptively high amount of damage to light vehicles. Even the Puma, I think, they were damaging a little bit. Either that or actually, I guess it was the 50 cal in that particular case. But they're very good against Kuba wagons, basically. They're very... for their price, anyway. No, they're not better than riflemen, but for their price, they're better than riflemen against Kuba wagons, because it's easier to set up flanks with massed rear echelon troops. We do have them taking focus fire on the retreat, but fortunately they do just barely make it away. We also have some nice harassment happening over here on the left. We actually have a supply half-track being sent over here. Not sure what that is doing. I guess just scouting. Repairs going up on the Puma as well. Just general engagements happening over here in the middle. Captain dropped 1 bazooka. It's now been reacquired by a rifleman squad. We also have Volksgrenadiers firing from a position inside the house, and rear echelon troops being forced away in the middle. We actually do see a Schwerer Panzer headquarters going up. These rear echelon troops didn't quite spot that. They probably could have done pretty respectable damage to it with their carbines, especially had they gotten inside this house. Unfortunately, he didn't really react in time, and even if he had reacted optimally, he would not have been able to destroy it with the Stern Pioneers, and Puma moving up to push him away. But he probably could have gotten it down to like half health if he had sacrificed the squad, which might have been worth it, because getting it down to half health, he could then destroy it entirely with a Pathfinder artillery barrage, but he didn't decide to go with that. In fact, he saved up the 900 manpower to call in the airdropped combat group, something you don't see very frequently, but I guess we're going to see it here. Let's see what he got out of it. LMGs, so that's a good drop. And more LMGs, so that was pretty much the best possible outcome that he could have gotten, and he's going to crew the AT gun with these rear echelon troops too, so he's going to thank RNGesus, and hopefully he will be able to take advantage of these elite troops that have now hit the field. He has an AT gun and 2 paratrooper squads at his disposal, and it's going to be very important that his next push succeeds, because he has absolutely no map control, and he needs to get his map situation back under control. He needs to stabilize his resource income and push that Puma off the field. Captain moving to respond to the Puma. Rear echelon troops tanking the damage relatively well. Now they're vet 2, not too much to worry about. Nice grenade though. Well, he put that right in the captain's path very nicely and forced a retreat over there. Meanwhile, in the middle, we do have territory being retaken, paratroopers moving up, forcing back infantry, Sturmoffizier and Volksgrenadiers all retreating, and the Puma will be soon to follow. AT gun also moving up to prevent any harassment of the paratroopers, although he's getting oddly close. He will probably land 1 shot here. Yep, shot does connect. Second shot won't be any time. The Puma is just too fast. Infantry moving to counter the Stern Pioneers on the left. He does know about the Schwerer Panzer headquarters over here, and it's placed quite nicely. It's very difficult to take it out without overextending here. You'd have to place an AT gun either up here, probably the safest choice, or around here, I guess, or here. Like maybe you could thread the needle a little bit there, but Even that would be overextending a little bit because it's on the opposite side of the road, so it's very dangerous to try and take it out, yet it's positioned in such a way as to very nicely defend the fuel. And if you saw my Langreskaya balance video, that's one of the reasons I think it would be better if this were the fuel point and this were just a standard territory point, because then it wouldn't be so easy for the left side player to defend it without risking anything of his own. Looks hitting the field, very nice. That should be a pretty solid counter to the American paratroopers, if not also the AT gun, depending on positioning, of course. Putting the AT gun near a building can be dangerous depending on the doctrine you're facing, but since he's seen Panzer Fusiliers, he knows nothing's going to be hopping out of buildings, and if he places a captain inside this building, it will make it almost impossible for any light tank or light vehicle to flank the AT gun, because the bazooka shots will make it too dangerous in that particular zone. Captain moving up, one getting sniped by the Puma. Bazooka is about to fire. Captain only actually has one bazooka though at this moment, because one of the bazookas was recovered by a rifleman squad somewhere. This rifleman squad here. Rear echelon troops are a vet too, so they're a little more durable with the 5th man, and they're going to be able to capture this strategic point. Looks going to move up to harass whatever moves on this point. Rear echelon troops, maybe, or maybe he won't. Maybe he's just going to stay on the flanks. We do have a big force of infantry moving in, but they're walking right into those paratrooper LMGs. A pretty decent sized force of infantry is also moving in a pretty bad formation. Panzerschreck going down, possibly going to be recovered by the captain. He does have a free weapon slot because he dropped that bazooka earlier. Forced retreat though, going out on those paratroopers, and they're forced away, and the captain gets wiped. Nice use of the Sturm officer's ability there, whatever it's called. Target them, yeah, he used target them on the, target them on the captain, and the captain got wiped, but then the LMGs focused down the Sturm officer, and he too got wiped, and I think both of these players are microwaving their vehicles or other units a little too much to pay attention to their infantry in the middle, and the squads are getting wiped left and right. The AT gun actually got cleared. He's trying to recrew it, or no, it didn't get cleared, it's just taking damage though from the Puma, trying to bring it about to fire on the looks, but it gets cleared. But now that these paratroopers have access to this Panzerschreck, they do pretty heavy damage there to the Puma, which pops smoke. More paratroopers moving up to crew the AT gun. Panzerschreck shot connects with the looks. AT gun is crewed. He's trying around the corner, but he doesn't make it quite in time, and the looks gets taken out by the AT gun. Very nice. And the Puma moves out of range. So that engagement definitely went in favor of the US player. Oh, what is the Puma doing? What was that? Oh no! Oh, and the Panzerschreck shot. What? What? I don't know why the Puma didn't just get out of there. Either that was a weird pathing hiccup or a incredibly tragic mistake on PanzerGrenadierAngreifen's part. So now things are definitely swinging in favor of the American player. If we take a look at Angreifen's units, he only has 2 Volksgrenadier squads and some Fusiliers at the moment, whereas Spanky still had, he lost his captain, but he still has, and he lost some rear echelon troops, but he still has 2 rifles, he still has his 2 paratrooper squads, which really are the things he needs to focus on most, and throwing Vet 2 on these is going to make them very potent infantry, especially against Panzer Fusiliers, which are sort of medium to short range infantry with their G43s. At least they're certainly not as good as paratroopers, not until they hit like Vet 4 or Vet 5, which takes a long time to do. Riflemen being forced away over there on the right side by some advancing Sturm Pioneers, but paratroopers catch them in an awkward position where if they leave green cover, they're pretty much going to get cut down. He's going to be forced to retreat those, I think. Oh, nice use to target them once more on those paratroopers. He doesn't want to get that squad wiped the way he did before, so he just immediately retreats, not willing to risk it again, especially not since or no, that's not his Vet 2 squad with the Shrek, never mind. But still, he just doesn't want to lose it. Fresh looks hitting the field, moving up to support the Sturm Pioneers. We also have a push for the strategic points here by some Volksgrenadiers, and a pretty significant blob of stuff moving up towards the cutoff. A new fighting position has actually been constructed. This is not the original one. That one was destroyed by the Puma and had a machine gun upgrade. Not sure why he produced this second one, but he did for whatever reason. Maybe just to defend the cutoff, but obviously it's just going to get destroyed by Panzerschreck and other things. Infantry moving up. And I think there's only one LMG in this squad right now. If we take a look, yes, only one of them has the LMG. Actually, Yeah, this one standing in the tree has an LMG. The other one has a Panzerschreck, so an LMG has been dropped somewhere. Not sure where. I don't know if it's been recovered or what. I don't see it on any other squads. Some harassment attempted over here on the left side, quickly gets shut down by the Schwer Panzer headquarters and the looks, and I'm not sure that those rear echelon troops are going to make it home. It's going to come down to RNG. Nope. Didn't make it home. Sherman hits the field just a little too late to save those rear echelon troops. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to move up and screen for them because they're already dead. A T-gun shot misses. Sherman is chasing. Bazooka perfectly positioned on the retreat path. Bazooka connects. No rifle grenade fired, unfortunately. And the Sherman is maneuvering pretty awkwardly through the hedges there, and the Volksgrenadiers are going to move up to screen. They'll also get rifle grenaded if he chases, so he doesn't want that to happen, and he's forced to pull back. We've got two paratroopers dealing heavy damage to the Sturms, and they're forced away. The riflemen also firing on some Volksgrenadiers here in the center. Looks like the riflemen could win that, depending on grenades. He finishes capturing the munitions, then immediately makes his retreat. Sherman being pushed away. He can't risk getting his engine damaged by an anti-tank rifle grenade, so he has to back off just a little bit. I think he may be hesitant to switch to... No, he has switched to HE rounds. It's worth it, I guess, to fire on those infantry, even though the looks probably won't be able to penetrate the looks' armor, however light it may be. AT gun also is a little bit out of position for these engagements. We do have a Raketenwerfer moving up over here on the left side, but the Sherman's already circled back around towards the center, so it's really just being used to cap right now. Fusiliers being focused down by LMGs. And riflemen also taking the strategic point here. Looks moving up and dealing nasty damage to those paratroopers. They try to throw a grenade. Nice retreat. He's going to have to retreat himself. Fortunately, the Looks missed most of those shots, and he's moving up to screen with riflemen and more riflemen and rear echelon troops, so the Looks is not going to be able to chase and wipe the squad. We do have the 57mm moving up here, trying to get into better position. We also have the Sherman inflicting what damage it can. It looks like it's taken a lot of damage, either from the Raketen or something. It only has one kill, so it's not doing particularly well. It hasn't had a very dramatic impact. He really needs to get that repaired and try and get some good HE shells to land and wipe out big clumps of infantry.
Find cover! Find cover!
Yeah, I think the Raketenwerfer did a little damage to it. Looks firing on paratroopers again. Angreifen doing a very nice job of moving it around the field and taking out targets that won't really be able to retaliate. High value targets like paratroopers. Paratroopers are probably one of the best targets that Looks can go for. Bazooka is taking up a position in the house though, and it will screen for the paratroopers' retreat. Still, things are pretty rough for the American right now. He needs to get much better map control to have any chance of really winning this. He has taken out 2 vehicles of his opponents, but the clock is ticking, fuel is ticking up. Needs to be careful about that. 19 fuel is coming in for Angreifen. He has 102 stockpiled. Not sure what he's going to go for next. We actually have assault artillery going in on the point up here, so that'll probably take out that fighting position, potentially take out some of these infantry. They're actually not really in the sector. Sherman's going to need to move out of the sector too. Volksgrenadiers taking pretty nasty damage there. They're going to be forced to retreat. So that's not really going to hit anything, I guess, except for that fighting position. And even then, it's not doing that much damage to it. Honestly, I think assault artillery is pretty bad. I don't think I've ever really seen it have that much of an effect. It's totally map dependent though. There we go. Almost took out a fighting position. Definitely worth 200 munitions. American forces moving up. Catching a Raketenwerfer totally out of position, and it gets decrewed. We do also have a squad of rear echelon troops nearby, ready to crew it. Although they're going to take heavy damage from the Looks in their attempt to do so, forcing him back. And the Sherman is preoccupied with fighting off these infantry. He can't let them get too close, or he will take a couple of nasty Panzerschreck shots. And the Sherman almost never deflects the Panzerschreck because it has such incredible penetration. You almost never see it bounce. Ooh, nice shot there. He's Panther's taking way too much damage, and he's forced to make a retreat. Nice rifle grenade. The Looks exposes itself by taking a weird route there, and the AT gun actually takes it out. Very nice. He keeps on just making these weird little maneuvers with his vehicles. Anytime they go down here, they just die. I don't know what he's thinking. Some harassment going on up here. Now that the Looks is dead, he should be able to harass much more safely. If we take a look at Angreifen, he has 140 fuel, bringing in more Fusiliers. I guess he's not quite sure what he wants to get. Could get a Puma. That would help a little bit. But I'm thinking maybe he's just saving up for a Jagdtiger, but it's going to be a pretty rough transition without any other vehicles. And he hasn't really got any good blob control because he didn't invest in an MG34 doctrine. He's just got to rely on the raw firepower of the G43s, but they're just not enough against these LMG paratroopers. Which are dealing nasty damage. Even at pretty close range, they're pretty good. Grenade going out. Nice attempt at a dodge, but the cooked grenade detonates a half-second faster than the regular grenade. It's very hard to dodge, especially when thrown at close range. Doesn't put 2 model losses, but nothing too catastrophic. Thanks to the hedgerow, he's actually able to capture the fuel point without getting shot at by the Schwer Panzer headquarters, so that is good. I think he's been circling around the top here outside of vision range, and that's why he's been able to take that. Nice unit preservation as far as the Sherman goes. He hasn't used it too dramatically. He hasn't taken out like massive quantities of infantry. 7 kills though. It's respectable. He's bleeding his opponent with it, but he's not really executing as much as he could be. Rifle grenade is going to go out on the Sherman, but oh, what happened there? The munitions definitely got spent, but nothing happened, so that sucks. Still, it's basically the same outcome as if he had fired it, because he would have just popped the crew out and immediately repaired it, so pretty silly use of that ability, although I think it's kind of dumb that it bugged out. Stern Officer being forced away, American infantry moving up to retake territory. American does have control of 2 victory points again. As far as VPs are concerned, things are pretty much dead even. The American could definitely benefit from getting better control of the territory though, because the clock is ticking. Doesn't really have all the time in the world. We actually have quite a bit of resource float on the American side of things. He's already at 75 pop cap, whereas his opponent's down to 40, so that just goes to show how the unit preservation's been going. He has higher pop cap and more manpower. I'm not sure what he's planning to do with his resources. I'm surprised to not see like a Jackson, for example. Preemptive Jackson against whatever armor his opponent might field. It would be good if he thought a Panther was on the way. It would be good if he thought Sturmtiger was on the way, or anything like a Puma, or anything really. I think a Jackson would be a good purchase at this point, and he could easily afford tons more stuff. I don't know what he's doing. Look at this crazy amount of resources. We do see INR Pathfinders on the field. We're probably going to be seeing an artillery barrage from them in the near future. And yes, we do have a Panther on the field. American doesn't have any kind of Jackson or anything to counter this. He just has a Sherman and an AT gun, as well as various infantry-based AT, his bazooka. INR Pathfinder barrage going in. Not sure he's noticed. It does land quite quickly. Oh! And there goes that Volk squad. He just wasn't paying any attention.
Sherman, the enemy
Ouch.
is overrunning one of our capture points.
So, INR Pathfinders definitely make a very grand entrance, but the Panther is out for vengeance, pretty much just charging the base. Fortunately, the ambulance was already moving away. AT gun, however, has been mobilized to counter, and the Panther will be forced back. Panzer Fusiliers over here trying to do some damage, but they actually are getting shot, I think, by the American MG nest. I'm not sure how they got suppressed. Something happened. And now they're super overextended and have to retreat through a bunch of allied infantry. Panther's going to try to attract their attention, though. Very nice decision there. And it looks like the Fusiliers are going to escape as a result of that. If he had just kept focus firing them, he probably could have taken them down, but he got a little preoccupied by the Panther there. Rifle grenade does connect with the Panther, and it now has a damaged engine, and it looks like the AT gun and Raketenwerfer might be moving up to try and punish it for overextending itself like that. We also have the Sherman moving up. Nice damage there.
Taking infantry fire! Let's go!
And we do have Stern Pioneers being forced away by those paratroopers, which it looks like he's content to just leave AFK. They can take on almost any threat that's sent alone because they have a Panzerschreck and an LMG and their Vet 3, so any lone unit will pretty much get killed except for maybe the Panther. Looks might be able to chase them away, but doesn't have a looks. And it looks like the Panther is being sent to get rid of those damn paratroopers, while some fresh Panzer Fusiliers harass territory over here. Paratroopers being mobilized to counter, though. We also have Sherman moving up towards the north.
Americans are making a push.
Top Gunner doing damage. Oh, INR Pathfinder barrage going in on the Schwer Panzer headquarters. Ooh, and it landed quite nicely. That's about 75% of the HP, I think. And he's trying to finish it off with major artillery. Look at that. Of course, major artillery is terrible. And does almost nothing, and it's pretty much up to the Sherman to actually finish the job. I think that was a waste of munitions, but definitely has munitions to spare. He's not hurting for munitions at all. Even after dropping all that artillery, he still has 233 left. And that's because with the airdrop combat group, you do get potentially 4 LMGs, and you don't have to spend an ounce of munitions. So, in that sense, it's very munitions efficient to use the airdrop combat group. In fact, he could drop another one right now because he's stockpiling resources like crazy. He hasn't bought a single unit since I last checked his pop cap. He's still at 75. Actually, I think he has another AT gun now. Or no, that's the Raketenwerfer. Yeah, so, yeah. I guess he just doesn't know what he wants. He's being so effective with his current units. Not particularly sure that he needs anything else right now. He's just banking his resources until he knows what he wants. But now that he's seen a Panther on the field, I really am genuinely surprised not to see a Jackson. I think a Jackson would really help. Rifle grenade going out. We also have the bazooka firing. Rifle grenade connects and the engine is damaged once more, forcing the Panther back for even more time-consuming repairs. And that will allow the Sherman to move back up to the front line, push back those Obersoldaten. We also, once again, have the Vet 3 paratroopers moving up to harass the fuel point, and they can do so with impunity with the Schwer Panzer headquarters destroyed. Very nice. And the Panther is also being taken down for repairs right now, so not really anything on the field that can counter them at this particular moment. These G-43s at Vet 5 actually might be able to, but obviously they're preoccupied getting blown up on the central victory point. And Angreifen is up to 100 fuel again. Not sure what his next big fuel purchase is going to be. He still has fuel transfer active, and he's had it active for pretty much the entire game, which is probably the main reason he hasn't been able to use any munitions-heavy abilities. I think he wasted 200 of munitions dropping artillery on that sector. It didn't accomplish much, and he could have bought 2 Panzerschrecks with that instead, or Panzerschrecks and G-43s or something. We'll note that his squads with upgrades are both Vet 5, and all of his other squads are practically negligible, so that just goes to show how incredibly important those upgrades are. Nice forced retreat, though, on those paratroopers, allowing him to continue harassing fuel over here. Panther's finally repaired, moves up to harass these Vet 3 paratroopers with Stern Pioneer support. Even under Panther fire, they're dealing devastating damage to that Stern Pioneer squad, almost wiping it. Ooh, what was that? Nice positioning of that AT gun. Nice use of take aim, hitting the rear armor. I think that might have been attack ground. No, maybe not. Maybe not. Paratroopers are down to only 2 men, but he's trying to stick it out. No, he changes his mind. He's just gonna pull back. Using the house for cover, the AT gun's not able to get a line on it. Some sort of Pathfinder artillery just got called in right there, but I don't know what that was aimed at. I guess these 2 squads, but they clearly dodged it quite handily. Fortunately, they couldn't do much in the face of that Sherman. Ooh, pretty bunched up Volksgrenadiers here. Shot connects quite nicely. He decaps the point. He's satisfied with just stopping the clock and pulls back for now. He is trying... Oh, that's what his next fuel purchase is going to be. A Stuka. pretty good decision. That'll be very effective against the AT gun, or Cat Warfare, and possibly airborne squads, depending on positioning and timing. Some counter-harassment happening over here on the right, retaking the lost territory to the Sturm Officer, which made it away alive, I think. Yes, it did. There were counter-harassment and harassment happening over on the left as Fusiliers attempt to retake some fuel, and the paratroopers take the munitions. Pretty significant push happening over here on the right, but without some AT, that's definitely just going to get shut down by that Sherman again. The Panther needs to move up in conjunction with the infantry, but unfortunately it keeps on being forced to go deal with paratroopers over here on the left. And Spanky was ready for the Panther this time, knowing that it would respond to his Vet 3 paratroopers. He has the AT gun perfectly positioned. Oh, but the Stuka appears to be firing. Spanky thinks it's on the paratroopers, but it's not. It's clearly aimed straight for that AT gun, and it has no chance. The weapon is utterly destroyed, and that was a Vet 3 AT gun, perfectly baited by that Panther. He just sat the Panther perfectly still in front of the AT gun. Spanky probably thought, what is this guy doing with his Panther? It's going to be a free kill. But then he heard the Stuka firing, and there was just nothing he could do. AT gun down. We do have a Sherman counter-harassing over here. One lucky shell could be the end of this Vet 5 Fusilier squad. Fortunately, they're taking a very spread-out formation on retreat, so that's good. But the coaxial and hull guns could potentially finish the squad off because it's just so low. And there it goes. That wasn't a loss that Angreifen could afford to sustain, and like I said before, if he had moved up with the Panther, possibly that wouldn't have happened. Nice use of Blitz, though. Look at the speed. Oh, we do have a Jackson on the field to counter, though. The Sherman is Vet 2, so it's actually very agile. And the Jackson is blocking the Panther's pathing. Look at that. Perfect. Even though it's not really a tank, it's a tank destroyer. It doesn't have the HP to be doing that. It is at full health. He's trying to take advantage of that to get his Sherman to safety, and his Sherman is going to make it away, but the Jackson might die here. Oh, and it comes down to who has better luck. And unfortunately, the Panther the shot against the Panther bounced, but now a second Sherman is on the field. Oh, and it penetrates at point-blank range. Even though the Panther's armor recently got buffed, and it had the Vet 2 armor bonus, that Sherman was just at point-blank range, and the shot did go through. And I don't know if it would have even been possible for that Panther to get away. It was so overextended. There were rifle grenade-equipped riflemen moving up from his flanks to help finish it off, so I think it was dead regardless of RNG in that case. But a bit of a small victory in the sense that that Jackson did get taken down. So I think Angreifen charged a little bit too aggressively into an unwinnable situation there. He certainly was not ready for the Jackson, and he was definitely not ready for a second Sherman. He thought he was going to be fighting one tank, and instead he was fighting three, so that definitely caught him off guard. And even after that, Spanky still has 1,000 manpower and 250 fuel. So he's really just playing against what his opponent throws on the field and not letting his upkeep get too high and just banking his resources, throwing out units as he sees fit. He could get another Jackson now, but I guess he would just rather get more Shermans. He's throwing a third Sherman out. He knows his opponent is hurting for fuel. He also knows his opponent has no Schwerer Panzer headquarters, so he can't make more Panthers. Panthers are not an option for him anymore. The only thing he could possibly be facing are the King Tiger, which he knows isn't going to happen anytime soon, not with a Stuka on the field, not with 2 Looks and a Puma destroyed. There's no way there's going to be a King Tiger anytime soon, so the Sherman's a good choice because there's no King Tiger possibility, no Panther possibility. The only thing he could possibly be up against at this point is, wouldn't you know it, light vehicles. Puma hitting the field right now. And there's also, of course, a Stuka, and 3 Shermans charging into Angreifen's base right now is going to be GG, and I think that's probably what Spanky's going to do, massing up the pressure, and just, he could easily just dive straight in, and that's going to be GG. We also have Pathfinder IR artillery coming in on the Mechanized Regiment headquarters now. Or wait, no we don't. That's Major Barrage. Well, that was stupid. Don't use that ability, Spanky. You know it's bad. Why do you use it expecting it to do anything when you know it's not going to do anything? At least now his Major's Vet 2, so it's going to drop 5 shells. I guess it did somewhat respectable damage, but for just 20 more munitions, you could practically destroy the entire building. That being said, we do have Shermans moving up to help seal the deal. The Mechanized Regiment headquarters is about to go down. There it goes. Very nice. We also have some elite infantry over here. Another Sherman moving in on the flank. This one has armor-piercing rounds equipped. Catches the Puma in a somewhat awkward position. It does have Vet 5 Volksgrenadier screening, but these two vetted Shermans are now going to move in from the other flank. Sherman baiting a little bit. Terrible use of smoke. No chance of escape. Not if you pop smoke there and then move straight into their line of fire. These Volksgrenadiers absolutely have no chance of escape either. Completely wiped out. And now PanzerGrenadierAngreifen has no chance of winning whatsoever. The game is over. Very well played by Spanky. Rough start for sure. Very difficult against the Kuba wagon and the truck pushing and that kind of thing, but he just executed. He brought it back, and I think once he dropped that that airdropped combat group, it's just so effective. He got such a good roll, and by roll I mean he got lucky. He got really good drops or whatever you want to call it, and he capitalized on it. He made those infantry count, and he just pushed and pushed until he owned the entire map and just wiped Angreifen out completely. So excellent play from the US player. Winning on this map is no easy feat. Fortunately, Angreifen did not choose a particularly campy doctrine with MG34s or anything, so it was generally fair play, I would say, all around. Really fun to watch. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to send me a replay of your own, and I'm happy to cast it for you. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.